Hey YouTube, I'm your fave nurse B. So today we're going to talk about the top 8 ways to pass nursing school. So if you all do not know, I am an LPN. I am a charge nurse at a long-term care facility, and I passed my nursing school at the top of my class. So these are my top 8 tips to help you to pass nursing school. I know it's hard, it's stressful, but you can do it. You can be a nurse. You will be a nurse. So let's get right into this video. So my first tip is to start the way that you want to end it. So go into nursing school with some type of goals in mind, some type of focus. So my goal was that I wanted to get straight A's throughout the whole entire program. That was my goal going into it, and I did get that. I got it the first half of my schooling, and then the second half it wasn't all A's, but I did still graduate at the top of my class. But I think in hindsight, looking at it, instead of focusing just on I want these type of grades, let your focus be on something that's more specific. I would say, like, I want to make sure that I come out of this course with this type of knowledge, or I want to make sure that I feel more confident coming out of this class, or I want to make sure when I come out this class that I'm able to do this and that type of thing, versus just focusing on grades. Because to be honest, I know the type of student I am. I can get good grades and not really have the knowledge behind it. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like I'm really good at taking tests, and I'm good at grasping information that I need to know to take the test, get really good on that test, and then that information kind of just falls off. But I didn't do the work to actually study it and know it, versus me actually just remembering it and for the test, if you get what I'm saying. So make sure that your goals are on things that are not just kind of like superficial, like a grade. To me, a grade is superficial. You want to make sure that you come out of it with some type of knowledge. You get what I'm saying? Because you can be with a nurse that's a C nurse and she is the best nurse, and you can be with a nurse that's an A nurse and she pretty much she's not good at all, or he or she is not good at all. So that's the first thing I would say, is start the way you want to end it. Don't come in kind of like laissez-faire, like, oh, you know, it's the first week of school, like I can kind of chill, you know, or, oh, this class is easy, like I'm not gonna put that much work into it, you know, I know I can get an easy B, let me just go ahead and get this B and roll out. No, start the way you want to end it. Start, if you know that by the end of this school year you want to be competent, you want to be a strong nurse, you want to be confident, knowing that you're going to pass Nclex and do well and start your nursing career on the right foot, make sure you think about that and start off with confidence, start off strong. Because I say start off strong because what happens in this, anybody who's done anything for a long period of time, or who's been in school, or who just took one semester of schooling, you know that in the beginning you start off strong. You got energy, you're excited, yay. Middle, you're kind of a little discouraged depending on what's going on, or you might still have confidence. By the end of that freaking school year, the end of that semester, you are burnt out, you're tired, you run down, you're over it, you're done. So your grades can start to slip at the end. If you started off really strong in the beginning, then at the end you kind of maybe got a few C's, those A's that you got in the beginning are going to help you to go ahead and get a B. But if you started off, you know, really slacking, not putting in as much work as you needed to, not doing what you needed to do in the beginning to get those A's and get higher grades, then towards the end, when you're already tired, you're going to be trying to, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, just to try to bring up your GPA at the end. Whereas if you would have started off strong in the beginning, you'll have a buffer for the end when you're really, really tired. That's something to really think about. You also start off as strong as possible, okay? So then my second thing would be is to set goals. So when you, of course you have goals. I want to finish this, I want to do that. But set like weekly goals, daily goals. Like actually sit down and say, okay, I am going to read such and such amount of chapters today. I'm going to read such and such amount of chapters tomorrow. So that way by the end of the week, I have read, you know, the 10 chapters I need to read for the test Monday, that type of thing. Actually set specific goals for daily goals, and stick to them. Do them, complete them, do whatever you have to do to actually meet those goals. Be tough on yourself. Be on point. You have to get through it. This is just maybe 1, 2, maybe even 4 years of your life that you have to dedicate. It's a small part of your life that you have to dedicate as much as possible to this, just so that you can live the rest of your life being a nurse. Okay, so just focus. You have to just focus. Get everything out of your life, push all those distractions away, and just focus on what you need to do. Okay, and with that being said, my next tip is to say no. No, no, no. I cannot do it. I won't be able to do it. Not me. No, goodbye. You have to learn to say no. Say no to friends, to families, to loved ones, to your kids. I know it sucks. Say no to yourself. Like, no, we're not going to go out. No, we're not going to go shopping today. No, we're not going to do this. You have to learn to say no. It is what it is. Like I said, this is a small part of your life that you're dedicating to something that you really want to do and accomplish so that you can have the rest of your life to be a nurse. Okay, so learn to say no to people. It's going to be hard for some people. Some people it's pretty easy. They've been saying no their whole life. So, but learn to say no. Okay, you have to really work on your self-discipline. Okay, my next tip is to be on top of your grades and learn where you are as far as where you stand in the class. So a lot of teachers will tell you, like, I don't know your, like, you'll go to her, like, be like, okay, what grade do I have in your class? I don't know. You should know that. And that's true. You should know where you stand in the course. Okay, you should be keeping track of your whatever your grades are on homeworks, on tests, on quizzes, all that. Keep track of it. Okay, if you don't know where you're at, go and talk to your professors. That's my next tip. But make sure you know where you stand in a course. There should never be a time where you're like, ooh, I don't really know if I'm passing or not. That should never be a time when you're at that point, because by then it's too late. It really is. You should always know where you stand. You should always know where your grade is at. Because in nursing school, you know, a lot of schools you have to have 75% or higher to pass a course. Some schools are 80% or higher to pass a course. So passing it, so if you have, you know, 79, that might be great. That might be a B in some schools. It might be a high C. But you're basically flunking. That's an F, okay, in nursing school. It's an F, depending on what your program is saying. So make sure you know where you stand in a course. So that goes into my next tip, which is to make sure that you talk to your professors. Talk to your professors. If you feel like, okay, I don't know, you know, what grade I have, or I'm not really grasping this concept, don't let it go too long without you going to that teacher and saying, look, I'm confused. I don't know where to start, or I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. And when you go to a teacher and you talk to them, try to be specific. Don't just say, I don't know. I don't understand any of this. Like, that's not helping them. You need to go to them and say, like, look, I understand that this is the way that blood flows through the body, but what I'm not understanding is the exchange of gases. Like, to me, it's just really confusing. I'm not able to grasp that. Now, I understand the flow, but the exchange, to me, I'm not getting it, because I don't see how that's able to happen, blah, 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 blah. Like, be specific. And the reason why you need to be specific is that way you're not spending the first 10, 15 minutes with this teacher, them trying to pull everything out of you. Like, okay, so do you not understand this? Like, you need to go to them and think about, okay, you have to think about, what are you not understanding? Okay, that's going to help you become a critical thinker as well, which nursing is all about, being critical, being analytical. So look and actually understand, okay, what am I not getting? Go to them with that specific question and get what you need to get from them. And then also go to them and say, look, I've been trying to, you know, do the math on what grade I'm having in your course, and I'm not able to, I don't get it. I don't know if I have an A, I don't know if I have a B. Can you sit down with me and, like, go over it with me? Okay, talk to your professors. Even if they suck and they're horrible, talk to them. Okay, y'all. Try your best to get as much information from them as possible. Your teachers are resources. Okay, they're good resources. So the next tip I would say is to make sure that you do Nclex questions throughout the entire time you're in school. We did this all the way from the beginning, before we even took fundamentals. We did fundamentals Nclex questions and didn't know anything about it, but they had us do questions. So take the time, and I'll put in the description box a link that I use, a free link that actually was really good. So take the time, sit down at a computer, give yourself 30 minutes to an hour, whatever. Do about 50 questions on whatever subject you're going over in class. So 50 questions on fundamentals. Sit down, do the questions. Okay. It's going to give you an option to look at the rationale while you're taking the test. So say you do question 1, you click the answer, you submit it, you get it wrong. It's going to tell you, okay, this is why, this is wrong, this is the right answer, this is why it's the right answer. That's the rationale. It gives you the option to either do that while you're taking the test, or at the end, after you finish all the questions, at the end, it gives you all the rationale for all the questions. So you can do whichever option you want. But make sure you time yourself. Make sure you're sitting down and you're actually in a test mode. You're not sitting down on your phone. You're not talking to somebody. You're not, you know, chit-chatting with this person. Like, you're not eating. You're sitting down and taking a test. Look at it like that. Because the more that you put yourself in Nclex mode of sitting down, focusing, really doing what you need to do to focus on the material, the more that you have less anxiety when you go into tests in general at school, and you have a whole lot less anxiety when you go into HESI, which is an exit exam for nursing school. Most nursing schools do it. Or when you go into Nclex and sit down for state boards. So make sure you do these questions. It really, really helped us. We did it so much over and over. I mean, it was just like, ugh. Now, when you do that, there's a percentage that you get right. Typically, what they wanted us to do was to get at least 75% correct. Now, they had us do that because in order for us to pass the course, you had to have 75% or higher to pass the class. So they was like, you know, with the questions, at least try to get 75% of your answers right. Now, you can use that as a goal, or you can say, you know what, I want to try a little bit higher. I want to get about 76 or 78% of my questions right. Do it like that. Or you might decide to do 80%. You know, just try to really just do them, get the repetition done, and that way it comes easier to you and you don't have so much anxiety, because I know a lot of people have test anxiety. Plus, you'll be used to a lot of the questions, and then you're learning as you're doing these questions, because you're going to actually read the rationale, and it's going to help you to actually start to learn like you learn like a nurse, and you start to think like a nurse, and you start to think like Nclex wants you to think, which is like completely different than real life. But you have to get yourself into the mode of Nclex thinking. Okay. So my next tip, which I really, really enjoyed. Some people, they don't really like it, but for me, it was very helpful to do a study group. And I'll do a separate video. I know I always say I'll do a separate video, but I will do a separate video on study groups and the best way to do study groups, and like the most helpful things you should do in your study groups. But study groups really, really help if you get the right people, the right amount of people, and you are focused within these study groups. It really, really helps, because this is time that you're allocating each week, whatever, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a week. You're allocating to just focusing on studying. And with me, the way that I learn is I learn a lot with other people. I can learn well with other people, and I can also learn by myself. But I'm talkative. I like to be around people. I like to be social. Like, it kind of gets me out the house for a while, gets me focused and motivated to do something. Like, okay, we're going to have a study group. I know I got to read because I got this study group. I got to get up and go do it. And also, in study groups, people think differently and they learn differently. So you might not be able to get a concept, but you talking to that person, like them explaining it to you, could like, boom, set a light bulb up, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I get it now. Just kind of looking at things the way a person looks at, somebody else looks at it, can really help you to understand a concept that you're not getting. So definitely do study groups. And like I said, I'll do a separate video, like giving you all the tips that you need to know to do really well in the study group. And my last tip would be to make sure that you ask questions. Ask questions, ask questions. People got so irritated in class because I would ask a lot of questions, but that's what helped me. And sometimes when other people ask questions, like, it would really help me, because I was like, oh my God, I never even thought about that. Like, yeah, what is the answer to that question? Ask questions and listen to other people when they ask questions and what the answer is, because what it does is it sets up, it helps the teacher, you know, to know, okay, they're not understanding this. I need to focus more on this. So it really helps in learning to ask questions. And usually the questions that I asked, people also wanted to know. And also, like, when it came up on a test, like, I remembered it because I remember asking it, and it's just like, it's somewhere, somehow, some way, it like, it set something off in my mind and I remembered it. So ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not feel like, oh, I'm so stupid, I have to ask this question. Look, you're paying for this education. You want to be a good nurse, don't you? You want to be a nurse. So ask the questions. Forget what anybody else got going on. Screw them. Like, focus on your education. You're there to learn, okay? Now, if you do feel kind of self-conscious, you don't want to ask questions in class, or like maybe class is kind of getting dragged along and you don't really want to, you know, ask in class and take time away from class, ask the teacher afterwards, you know, or ask one of your classmates and see, do you know da 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 da, and then confirm it with the teacher, like, okay, is this right? I hope this helps you all. You can pass nursing school. It is hard, it is a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. You're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a great nurse. I hope this helped you all. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the description box. Also, follow me on Facebook, YourFavNurseB. It's a Facebook group for us to talk and just go over anything with nursing, CNA, CMT, talk about nursing school, talk about anything on there that you all want to talk about. Thank you all for watching. Peace.